Thank you so much, Nikki, for joining me. And welcome to the Ask an Email Expert series on Mailbird. How are you doing today?
Great, thank you for having me.
Awesome. All right, so let's dive into it. I want you to just share your personal productivity tips. What is a typical day in your inbox or your day to day look like?
So I wish I could say that I don't start my day checking my emails. That doesn't happen. On very, very good days, it happens, but I wish that it happened, but it doesn't happen. So one thing that has helped is just setting up Google not folders, filters, promotions, updates, all that kind of thing. I will check my other like the what are they called, the mailboxes, like the separate mailboxes. um, I will check the separate mailboxes because I think it's very important, and I'll talk about this in a second to another one of your questions, to be reading a lot of emails, even emails that are like completely unrelated to what I'm working on right now, different industries, all this kind of stuff. So I do spend a lot of time in my inbox. So that's kind of productivity for for my work, less productivity for like time management kind of stuff, because it does take a lot of time to go through all those emails. But yeah, what works, scheduling emails is very helpful. That way I can kind of, block off time, that kind of thing. In terms of creating emails for my newsletter, I played around with batching content for a while, and I actually found that it was very productive from a time management standpoint again, but it wasn't creating the relationship that I wanted with my list. I wanted to be able to just, when I had an email musing, thought, something I wanted to share, I wanted to be able to just share, and not have to like, oh, but wait, we batched like 2 months already, so I guess that's going to go out in 2 months. Like
Right.
that doesn't fit. Or like, okay, so then we shove everything off like another 2 weeks, so that kind of stopped happening. Um, but what does help, what I do for my newsletter side of things, is that I personally respond to anyone who will respond to my newsletter. I think that's very important for the relationship. It's my list, they're reading my emails, I should respond to
Right.
them. So I only do that once a week. I will respond. I mean, sometimes I'll peek in and respond other times. Hard to resist. But Fridays is when I go in and I'll respond to my people. And that really helps to maintain focus.
So, what are the three most important tools that you use, or they don't even have to be tools, or tips that you currently use when it comes to your personal side of work and just dealing with your email list?
So I personally use ActiveCampaign. I like ActiveCampaign for service providers, Klaviyo for e-commerce, and Intercom for SaaS. Those are like what I like. If a client comes to me and says, "Okay, we're going to switch. What's your dream?" That's what I say. But obviously, we work with any of the ESPs that they're working with. If they're using a CRM, the whole full blown thing, we'll work with that too. But those are the ones that I find do like the best job for that specific industry as a general rule. So that's just ESP side of things. I live in,
ESP is email service provider.
yes, thank
Yeah.
you for checking me.
Okay. Just for our audience.
I had
Um,
a conversation with my husband the other day where I was like, so an ESP reached out to me, and he's like, they read your mind. It was pretty funny. Easy jargon.
yeah, trust me, I know sometimes as an expert, because we have the abbreviations, we'll just say them and it'll
Yeah.
happen. So I definitely understand. So for you personally, what are some tools or tips that you use to manage your day to day?
Slack. I live in Slack. That's just I've tried so many project management softwares, and I just find that they put so many barriers to getting things done. You have to click here and update this and click this, and there are things that I like about each one, but eventually I just like Slack and Notion. That's where I work. That's where stuff happens and gets done. And there's flaws to that as well. Where having a project management system would, like, a Notion obviously has that capability as well, but like something like Monday or Trello or something that's like really, really, really for project management, it has pros that we're missing out on. But that's what we settled on. That's what works for us. So that's what we use. Anything else? I mean, my tech stack is insane. Like I'll use Vidyard, and what else? Now, of course, I can't think of anything. Streak is awesome.
What's
Uh,
your
Streak is I actually really like Mixmax, but they've changed things around a little bit. So I just kind of fell into Streak because they're free. So why not? But it's basically like, it's kind of like a email CRM tracking, scheduling. It's just kind of like, it's great for, yeah, email productivity. Like you could schedule emails for later. You could see if people are reading your emails, and
Oh, okay.
move emails into your pipeline, and just like keep track of things. And so it's, yeah, it's awesome.
Okay.
It's great.
I would also ask, all right, what are some not so obvious or marketing practices that you would email marketing practices and email productivity practices you'd share with your clients to help them to get the most out of their day and their emails?
So this is what I was talking about before in terms of reading a lot of emails. So it takes a ton of time. So you would think like, I don't have time for that. Like, no way. But if you're in the email world, if you're writing emails, if you are planning email strategy, anything about email, like you need to be on top of what's going on. And it's less like you need to, like you should be doing it.
Yeah.
And it just feeds you. Like you don't have to work so hard because you're full of ideas all the time because you're just you're seeing so much. So
And
I
when you
just
say emails, do you mean the emails that people are sending you, emails that you subscribe to from brands? Give me an idea of,
Yes, absolutely. Emails I subscribe to from brands, all sorts of brands, like every industry, every type of newsletter, all sorts of things. Like just being able to see cross industry, like it's great to see what's happening in your industry, and it's also just great to get ideas from other industries. Um, so yeah, and it's actually interesting because I will sometimes get ideas from personal emails as well, because they kind of have their own flavor. But yeah, just read emails and see how people are communicating, and just how the brands are communicating, and see what resonates, what doesn't resonate, all this kind of good stuff. It's just so helpful.
nice. So when you're looking for some email inspiration, look in your own inbox. You might be surprised with what you find.
Exactly.
Nice. All right. What are some things that you see happening for the email industry for 2022? Or what are some things you would like to see more people use or do in 2022?
So we're just on the heels of the iOS 15 update, which is really
Every email expert has brought this up, but
exactly. So, open rates, not being able to track open rates anymore for a lot of experts is just, it's changing entire strategies. Because, even just A/B testing your subject lines. Well, if you can't see which variable won, then you can't be A/B testing your subject lines anymore. I mean, you could see which one created more clicks, but was it the click or was it the subject line? Was it just, it makes things a little bit different. So I think strategies are obviously going to have to change, and be more click focused, more engagement focused, which is sort of a good thing because open rates have always been a vanity metric. They've always been, you know, not where the real conversion is happening, not where the real, um, it's the tricky thing is it could be where the relationship is happening. So for example, if I send out a newsletter where it's just me sharing a thought, I have no clue how that's going down. I don't know who's opening it anymore. I don't know who's engaging with it. I don't know if people resonated with it or not. So it'll be interesting to see how people tackle that. Like, do you just put a click on the bottom, like, hey, did you read this? Let me know. Did you like it? Do you not like it? Which, I mean, The Hustle does this really cool. I mean, there's a few newsletters that do this. They have like at the bottom, like a smiley face icons where you click and see like, did you like this email? Like, yes, no, maybe. And so that's always a cool engagement trigger for things that are more just informational, educational, relationship building kind of thing. But yeah, just in general, like strategies are going to have to change to come away from opens and to more engagement. What I would like to see is more thought in terms of the customer journeys and less promotions. Promotions are great, they're important, But just kind of like seeing like where people fall, like how soon are you sending them promotions? Are you giving them a welcome series first? What's the journey besides just like we're having a sale, we're having a sale, we're having a sale,
Right.
things like that. So yeah.
Nice. What are some strategies you think people should start to think of with the iOS policy and all the changes coming on? Probably, I mean, I know you can't give me something like completely in depth because you need like an actual client, but just off the top of your head, some things that you would say like, you guys should start thinking about this, or if you're in this industry, this is something you should start thinking about implementing.
I saw a really great thread on Twitter where she was talking about, I thought this was such a brilliant angle. She's saying, take a look at your metrics now because these are your benchmarks that you need to be tracking. Or you need these benchmarks now. When you have the opens, you can see the different engaged segments, what their clicks are like. So you can kind of know once you don't have the opens anymore, you need the info. You have this information now, you're about to lose it. So start taking note of all the metrics that you have now so you can use them as benchmarks for when you don't have all the information. I thought that was a really insightful thing to be thinking about because everyone panics about the future, the future, the future. And it's like, wait, you have your gold right here. Take stock and use that to help you when you are in that future state of bad no data.
Okay. So how, just to explain a little bit further, how would I, or what's one way I can use the data that I've already gathered in the past going forward into the future? Is it that if I've sent a certain type of email in the past and it's gotten this open rate, I can use that to gauge who could possibly be opening these emails now?
Yeah, so seeing how like your engaged segments are performing in terms of their clicks, like are they just opening and not clicking? If their click rate, if their open rate is high and the click rate is low, what's going on there? And then down the line, if you have a low click rate, well, maybe that's okay because your open rate, your people are still reading your emails. Of course, that is only if you're not trying to get them to click, if it's more of an informational kind of email. I know that I'm going to be like doing a re-engagement push before this happens, in terms of just cleaning out my list and making sure that, the people who are not opening are going out. And yeah, I'm going to have to rethink my re-engagement strategy in general. Just now it's all on opens. And it does bother me a little bit that I have to do it on clicks because I hate clicking in emails and I am an email person. So what happens when it's somebody who just wants to be reading this stuff? Are they engaged? Are they not engaged? Probably just sending something like, hey, I can't track you. Are you still interested in my emails? I see you didn't click anything, but maybe you still like reading them. Just kind of maybe even like the honesty and the upfrontness of like, hey, we value your privacy, or Apple is making us value your privacy.
Right.
So, we have no data on you, but, do you want to be part of our ecosystem or not? And just being open to the fact that if customers or subscribers are not engaging, then it's okay to say goodbye to them. So it's okay to be really upfront with them, and to just, invite them to unsubscribe. So yeah, those are some thoughts.
Okay, and my last question would be from a professional standpoint, when you are reaching out to people through your email app like Gmail or Outlook, and you're trying to get business or you're trying to get in contact with this person, is the new update going to affect that personal one-to-one channel with other professionals?
Could you clarify what you mean by that?
Because I know that the privacy update would definitely affect how people use their email service provider, how you would engage with your list. But let's say that I am a professional and I'm sending you an email and I've never emailed you before. So this is my first email to you. Is that policy going to affect me as a a professional or a freelancer as I do my single outreach to other people?
So it's interesting because I mentioned Mixmax before, and one thing that Mixmax does very nicely is that it tracks clicks with like professional email, personal or professional. If you send an email, and I say, check out my blog article, I can see if you've clicked it. So I'm assuming that's not going to work under iOS 15, which will be interesting for like seeing what will Mixmax do for that. Are they just like doing away with that feature? Are they going to find a workaround, things like that? So in terms of like cold pitching, things like that, it is going to have to be more reply focused, or just, click focused in terms of things that you can see on the website, like from the website side,
Mm.
versus from the email side. But in terms of regular email communication, I mean, I haven't seen the update like in depth. I've been following the conversations more just because I find it's so interesting to see all the nuance and the way people are responding to things, and things that people are worried about, things that people are not worried about. So I have to read the fine print a little bit more, with the actual update, but I do believe that it's not going to affect that kind of thing. I could be totally wrong.
We'll see. We'll see with Apple and with Google's new updates as well. We'll see.
Awesome.
Awesome. All right. Thank you so much for joining us. Do you have any last remarks for our audience before we close off?
If you want to subscribe to my email list, I will not be able to see your opens if you're on an Apple device, but you're definitely welcome. I love having new people. It's basically just email insights, musings, just stuff on emails around emails. It's very meta.
Yeah. And if you guys want to know more about Nikki, be sure to click the links in the description below, as well as don't forget to subscribe and like and share this video if you think it would be helpful to anyone watching.